As a transitional kindergarten teacher, I'm often confronted with my students crying, pushing, taking things from others, or tattling. I felt that of all the above-mentioned behaviors, tattling occurred the most frequently and was the most time-consuming in regards to me having to stop my lesson and address the tattler or the child they were tattling on. My class of 15 transitional kindergartners runs pretty smoothly. The students are familiar with daily routines and understand my expectations for behavior and the consequences for breaking rules. I'm often amazed by how well behaved my students are and by how much they are able to learn each day. Yet, when confronted with the requirements of conducting an action research project, I found that there is one thing that gets under my skin, and try as I might, I couldn't get the students to stop doing it. Tattling was a daily occurrence. More than that, it was something that occurred during every single lesson I taught, whether they were on the carpet or at their seats. Sometimes I would find myself stopping a lesson to tell the tattler that they needed to mind their own business because the student they were telling on wasn't really breaking any rules. Other times, I would address the student being told on and give them a warning or move their name from the green card to the yellow card or from the yellow card to the red card. Either way, I was having to stop my lesson, and getting back into the swing of the lesson isn't always easy when there are 15 different 4- and 5-year-olds on the verge of asking to get water, asking to go to the bathroom, asking to get their shoelaces tied, letting you know that they are hungry, or asking to put on or take off their sweaters. I began to collect data for my baseline. This was only feasible in the form of quick tattle tallies I would mark on a little piece of paper. Every time a student tattled, I would make a tally. I did this for a total of 6 days. After my baseline data was collected, I was astonished to find that tattling occurred as frequently as 42 times in one day. I had to wonder, is it possible to reduce the frequency of the occurrence of tattling in my classroom? A classmate of mine at APU heard about my tattling dilemma and suggested a technique that sounded like it just might work. On a Monday, I taught my class the strategy. I told them that when they want to tattle, they have to do 2 things first. Number 1 is that they have to use their nice words to tell the other student to stop. For example, the most common tattles are, "She's running," or "He hit me." And as it turns out, the student usually only accidentally hit them. So the tattler would say, "Please stop running," or "Please don't hit me." If, for some reason, the student continued to run in the class or hit them, the student would then use their strong words. This consists of "Stop running," or "I don't like it when you hit me, now stop." As it turns out, the student who is running or who is hitting, either accidentally or on purpose, usually stops their behavior after the nice words are used, so students rarely have to resort to even using strong words. Finally, the last step is to tell the teacher if the offender keeps running or hitting in spite of the fact that the potential tattler used their nice words and then their strong words. This 3-step strategy is very simple to implement because it's easy to explain to small children and it's easy for them to utilize once they fight the initial impulse to tattle and remember to follow the steps. Each day I would start by doing a mini lesson or review of the 3 steps, and each day the number of tattle tallies would be considerably less than it was before I implemented the strategy. Before implementation, my baseline range was from 15 times in one day to 42 times in one day, with an average occurrence of 27.3% out of 6 days. After implementing the strategy, my data range was from 4 times in one day to 20 times in one day, with an average of 11.5% out of 13 days. Overall, the 3-step strategy was effective in reducing the rate of occurrence of tattles in the classroom. I would not make any changes to the strategy or its implementation. However, it is important to note that daily mini-lessons are essential in order to remind students of the procedure until they are able to commit it to memory. According to the data, the longer the strategy is in use, the more effective it becomes. I will continue to use the strategy and in the future, make sure I begin implementing it at the beginning of the school year. Essentially, it is up to the individual student to fight the impulse to tattle and exercise self-control in order for them to be able to follow the necessary steps. Due to factors such as personality type or intrinsic motivations such as receiving attention from the teacher, the strategy will not always work in every situation. However, the overall occurrence of tattling has reduced in my class, and I find that I don't have to stop my lessons to confront the issue as often. Additionally, I sometimes overhear students talking to each other about using their nice words, so I know that they are taking the strategy to heart and are even helping their peers to remember it as well. I would absolutely recommend this strategy for any other teacher who is experiencing a large volume of tattling in the classroom.